Hey, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Today is episode 24, and it's all about small pencil storage for work in progress, sets of pencils, as well as for storage of the sets of praying colored pencils that are a set of 50, and I have 16 sets of them. So when I was originally getting organized for starting a coloring group, I thought I was going to get colored pencil cases that matched, 16 of them. And as I started looking, I had a very difficult time deciding, first off, what I wanted. And then I decided, wouldn't it be fun if they were all a little bit different? So I have here in front of me the very first group that I bought. I bought them over 3 different orders because I wanted to test them out, see how accurate they were to the measurements. Temu is pretty good at providing measurements, and I highly recommend that you look at the measurements as well as kind of ask yourself, is this really going to work? So in this set of first 5 that I bought, I did log the prices so that it was right here in front of me. And I bought just a complete unrelated array of them. As you can see, they are all completely different. And some of them are very cute and very clever. And some of them ended up being too small. So it helped direct me in future purchases. So the very first one that I was drawn to was this head of lettuce. I just thought it was so clever. And I know that it is sublimation printing on this velvety material that's a polyester. And so yes, it is like you can pet it all day long. The one thing I noticed with it, it was $1.60. I thought it was a great price, and it would be very fun to have 15 heads of lettuce with these labels. So these I paid like $2.98 for 40 different soft, kind of pliable labels that you pull this. Pardon my sneeze. Wow. You pull off the very lightweight split ring, and then the label comes out. It has a white label and a plastic protective cover. Then I use a label maker to do my labels for the most part, and then this color around it is helping with the identifying that the labels you'll see inside on the pencils are also green. So we're not going to go through my labels yet because I'm in the middle of testing. I have 4 different types of labels. I already know some that don't work, but I will wait until I conclude my investigation on good labels that actually will stick and stay stuck to round, glossy pencils, namely the prangs. So I noticed that this zipper was awfully short and that the top of the lettuce is pretty wide and the bottom gets narrower. So when I open it up, I can fit all 50 prangs in, but I can only put them in because of this shorter zipper, say 10 at a time. And it has a nice satin interior. It has a little bit of puffy cushion, but not a lot. So I feel that the pencils are a bit protected. And I decided that it's safest to put them in tip first to store them. And again, this is $1.60, and it did come with the chain ring. So if you wanted to go with some different type of labeling system, it already has this cute little piece of chain that comes with it. And again, it was only $1.60. I will also let you know if in the first 30 days of buying a Temu item, if the price goes down, you can do a price adjustment request, and you will get it immediately, and it will be credit for buying future products. So that it's kind of a little lost leader. You know, they hook you in, and then they hook you in again because you get credit, and then that makes you buy more. Since I'm fully entrenched in buying these Temu things for my various crafting projects, staying away, of course, from the products that I feel are rip-offs of other artists' art. I'm staying away from that. So far, I have not had a bad experience, and there are a couple of measurements that you'll see that are just a little bit off, or not really maybe my estimation of what that size meant. Didn't really end up being that big. So the only flaw with this is I would like the zipper to be maybe at least 1 inch longer, and it is not. The next one that I absolutely fell in love with was the fish. I suspected, looking at the shape of this fish, that with the tail getting so narrow that I would not be able to fit a full 50. So it was not really a candidate for praying. It was more of a candidate for my own storage. I often will have in progress coloring projects that use 10 to 20 or so pencils, and I also have some small sets that I can use, and I decided to use this fish. It was $1.78, and it did have some sort of price reduction, and it since it's this one I bought early on, I don't have my black label created for it yet. And you can see that I did stick an actual full split ring as a test, because there's this zipper and it has a little bit of a ring, and it does fit a full split ring. And I then took my label maker and wrote Prismas, and this actually houses my 36 set of Prismas that I am going to be allowing my colorists to look at them and maybe peruse them and use them. They've all been swatched and everything, so I have swatches available for this set. You can see that, like, here's a black that I have sharpened, and then these are all the original Prisma level of sharpening. I even have sitting right here my Prisma color sharpener that will replicate depending on which surface or which sharpener I choose. I can actually create that same shallow Prisma sharpening if I don't want the long one. Remember that Prismas are very soft, and so if you go with a long point, you risk them just breaking off and wasting the lead. So, love this fish, but it is the only one I got. There are actually 3 different fish designs, and I picked the one I felt was largest, and it is going to house my Prismacolors for people to play with. The zipper is very delicate, so, and it closes up really tight, so I do worry about its longevity. I have a hard time closing it with my particular ring on it, so that is something to be wary of. And again, I paid $1.78, and though it doesn't tell me what the price reduction was, I did get some amount of money back, maybe 20 cents, maybe 2 cents. So I bought this map. It's a pleather feeling that comes in different colors. It was $2.27, and I knew that it was not going to fit a full set of 50 prangs. I just liked it, and what I have put in it are all of my blending, a set, not all of them, but just a set of the various brands of blending tools, blending stumps. I have, here's all of the different brands of blending, and then I have one burnisher here. So I have the Fulbright from Caran d'Ache, Derwent blending, Prismacolor blending, Color. I have an unsharpened Color burnisher, so I actually have 2 burnishers. So I could put the 2 burnishers together and the 4 blenders together. And then I have a bunch of blending stumps, and it fits, I think each pocket holds like 4 to 5 items, so you're going to get 12 to 15 items in here. And then it just rolls up, and it has a very nice map. Don't know what it is of exactly, and then notice the map just stops. It doesn't go the full length of the pleather. And then it has another pleather suede type of a wrap with EN 50 Francois, 50 francs. I think that's 1841. So just cute. I liked it. I thought the price was right, and I knew that I had enough of my own supplies that could fit in something nice like this. And then you can just wrap this up and put it in a drawer, put it in your bag, take it with you. It's nice, easy to hold, and provides some protection to your supplies. So the next one is really funny. This is called the zipper caterpillar. And here's his face. And I put all 50 prangs in here, and it was tight. So I decided, because it is so darn cute, that it comes in different colors. I even think it has maybe different googly eyes depending on what it's supposed to be. And I put a set of brushes in this one. And it actually comes completely unzipped. All the way. So I just thought it was very clever. It makes me laugh, makes me smile. Here's the inside pieces. The teeth are actually just zippers that don't zip. And you can unfurl it completely if you want. It has a nice, fun label with Chinese characters. And I have a set of brushes that I put in here, and it actually sits in my brush stash, or my paint stash area. So that is very fun and very clever, but it's not going to hold 50 pencils. If you do projects that use 20 to 30 pencils, it'll hold 20 to 30, no problem. And I said it was $1.87, and I did get a partial refund, so it had some sort of a discount applied to it within the 30 days. None of these, with all these varying materials, none of them smelled funny. Like if you're thinking, well, does the pleather smell? Did it come with a smell? It does not smell like anything. All right, so I already own one of these. Let's see if I have it. Yes, I've had this a while. This used to house my Prismas, but it's actually big enough to hold more than the Prismas. It's plenty big enough. The brand is Special, and I bought it off of Amazon, and I think it was maybe $6, $6.50 or so. And at the time, I thought it was great. I've had it a couple of years, so I was really happy when I found Special. It feels about the same. It has the same brand name. I don't know that it's a knockoff. Engu is the name, and that's who's selling it. So it's probably a Chinese supplier that sells on Amazon. The label is exactly the same, and this was $3.87 with a price reduction at some point. And it holds, yep, it's number 3, so it holds a set of the 50 prangs. And again, these are just my tests. You can guess that this test is sort of a fail. Down in my screen room, I have a 7-drawer cabinet on wheels, and I have stored all of these tests in the cabinet right by these windows, because my room down here, my craft room, is all windowed, and it does get rather warm. And we're in Florida, so when I say warm, it means I have a fan overhead and a fan blowing on me when it gets super, super warm in the summer. So I'm letting these stew while I pursue my testing of a variety of label materials. More on that in a different episode. So I really like this case. I also like that it has front and back zippers that have little slots, so you can put specialty items. You could put, your burnisher, you could put blending stumps. It does have 8 individual slots, probably only big enough for 1 pencil each, realistically. So the middle area is where I have put this set of pencils. And then on the other side, there's, you can put erasers, and you can put, here's a little tiny sharpener that I have that could go in here depending on how thick your other stuff is. So this already has a set of 50, and I can still house an eraser, a sharpener, and I can feel it, but there's plenty of room. So the other thing with me having this variety that I thought would be better is that people can check them out, touch them, feel them, know what the price is, and if they choose to buy their own pencils and have their own storage, they can look through all of mine and it will help them decide what works best for them. So that was my first chunk that I ordered. One other one that I did order that I thought was cute but is a little bit on the small side, but it does work. It's very fat. It has it's I call it the cow design, but it has these little smiley faces with the cow pattern. It was $1.99, and I do not have a note that it was a price reduction, and it was, I looked back here, yep, it was $1.99 and the price wasn't reduced. It only has one main compartment and then a little handle. I have put my Crayolas in here, and I'm not sure, I have a 100 set and a 50 set. I do not believe, oh, these are my Twistables. Okay, so I have these Twistables that I bought ages ago for Bible journaling, and they work really well for that. And so they just are a nice, easy, this is like before I was even into pencils at all that I got these. So that is where these are stored. I should probably, when I get my black labels out and attach them, I can do, oh, I do say twists. I think they're called Twistables, but I shortened it. So I will redo my label more nicely now that I have those. They come in a pack of 40, and again, I think $2.98. So that was my first order, and now I'm just going to pick through my second order. Was when I decided for sure that I would go ahead and do kind of a variety rather than stick with one particular kind. And one of the kinds that I really like are these cute buses that have all these little text messages and funny little creatures. This is actually test number 2 with another label set up. This was $1.78, and it did come with a discount. It holds all 50 pretty easily. It does not have any cushioning. The inside is dark, but it definitely holds 50 plus, and there is still room that you could put erasers, sharpeners, all sorts of things in addition to the 50 pencils. So you probably could hold a 72 set. I will talk a little bit about when you do have like all of them kind of in a lump and they're not in any color order. When you put them out, you need to set them up in some way to organize them, and I have found a really good solution to that. That I will talk about at the end of this today. Oops, I better take out my prop. So I really like this, and it also comes in like 5 different colors. So I only got one, but I could easily go back and decide to get another color. Then I got these 2 open cases. They do not have anything in them yet. They were different prices, but they were from the same listing. They're called Victory. One thing about the Chinese and Japanese stationery supplies, they like to put little labels on things. These are like open on top and bottom, and they have little handles. They just like to do that. And so I remember when I was a kid, I really liked Hello Kitty, which Hello Kitty is still a thing, I guess. And I had a lot of little miniature stationery stuff. I've always been a stationery crafting buff since I was a kid. So this particular set does have, or this case has 2 zippered pouches. The zipper's a little bit on the rough side, not as smooth as some others. I believe that all 50 will fit in here, but the secondary storage can probably have some flatter items, a burnisher, an eraser, but you would be hard pressed to put the sharpener in the side. It might fit just barely in the top if you had a 50 set of pencils, but it was $2.28 for the yellow one, and I think it still would hold project pencils nicely. In addition to the 50, you could put 20 pencils and some supplies. So this is going to be test number 5. I've already outlined it with yellow and have not put anything in for testing yet. And then in the same listing, you could pick colors, and I bought the black one as well. That was 20 cents more. And I do not think that these were a price reduced item. And it's the exact same dimensions for the yellow and the black. In fact, there's my labels for my test that I have not finished yet. I've got 2 more fun cases. Now this case, I think it's very unprotected. I'm not sure that I would use it at all for pencils. It might be good to hold some other supplies. It's just a nylon rubbery finish inside and a really cheap zipper. It was $1.99, and I don't say that it was a price reduction item. It probably would hold 50 very snugly, but it could hold something. Here, I've got something that I am looking for storage of, and that is my full collection of glaze pens. I really like the 3D elements you get from the glaze pens and the shiny pop-up. So let's see if the full set of glaze pens will fit in here. I hesitate to guess. I think it's going to be close. Oh, it does appear that all of my glaze pens, should I choose to keep them here, the glaze pens have sat on my drafting table in an open cup for 10 months now. So it's time for them to go in a case. I think this case, I don't feel they need a lot of protection, so this case will work perfectly, and I will actually add one of my tags. The tags are not a full-size jump ring. It's a very thin jump ring, so it will fit on some of these smaller little holes for the zipper pulls. So I will get that labeled, and these can live in here. And then we're getting down to the last few. So I have another cow design. I call it Cow Flat. It was $2.42. And it's one that I had hoped that it would be a little bit beefier, have a little more height to it. So it's not really going to hold a lot. Let's put, since I have these glaze pens, I believe they will all fit. Height-wise, you might even want to flip the lids so that they kind of have a more, so it's a very flat feeling case. And I'm not sure that I would want to put all 50 pencils in here, but it might be that a praying set would fit. Now, I had originally thought not. I love the little handle, and it's got a nice chunky zipper for the price. It has a slot here. You could put an eraser, a blending tool, maybe a sharpener. Let's see, I'm just going to toss the sharpener in there, and it does fit. So it might be a good one to put a praying set in. So you do need to actually try. You're going to be surprised at some things that do fit, and then surprised when things don't fit. So when I bought this particular flat cow, I had my eye on the loaf of French bread. So I bought the loaf of French bread. It had dimensions very similar to other dimensions that do fit all 50 pencils. However, this was a little bit on the spendy side. I paid $3.71. I splurged. There was a price reduction of some variety, not sure what. And so I opened it up. The zipper works really well, but here's the problem. If you have a special set of pencils, maybe you have 10 luminance pencils, and you're working on a special project, let's see how many of these glaze pens fit. It's really padded. So padded that it's not like you're gonna fit much of anything in here because of the extreme padding. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I love that bread, the best thing since sliced bread, you're going to have to deal with the fact that it is very puffy, and the dimensions that they give you don't account for the amount of stuffing that's in here protecting whatever it is that you keep in here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, even though it was so cute. And I love it's again kind of that velvety feel, like the head of lettuce. I like that the zipper goes end to end and then some. That's great, but it is just not going to store very much. So the last, a little bit more expensive one that I bought is this case. I've already loaded it up with an example of what I thought I would use it for. It was $404, and I've seen, I insisted on pink, but you can sometimes see the off-white, like the ivory and the kind of olive green colored one for like $267. So it's a bigger case. It doesn't have a handle. It appears as though it sits up, but when you open it, it has like instant vertical layout so that you can have your pencils. So these pencils were used for a project. I have yet to store them back in their my open tote. So these are luminance pencils and polychromos. They were used to do a dog portrait that was for a friend of mine. The dog has passed away, and so had I had this particular case, it has these little wings, and it can hold a whole bunch of, like, this is my T-Gal sharpener. I have my putty eraser in a little case. This case I did get from Temu. I don't even know how much. It was very inexpensive, and I got 5 of them, I think. So I've got a gum eraser. I have I had these pencils in rubber bands. So I have a sand eraser. When I'm done working on a project, I even have my slice tool for the little hairs. So when I'm done using it as a stand to hold up my pencils instead of a cup or a divided tool, I can take these pencils, I can lay them flat. I could rubber band them together if I want to keep them separate. Oh, and the left to right. On the left I had the cool gray, and on the right I had the warm gray. I had all of my 3 white pencils on the left, and on the right I had black, and then my soft colors that I used for the toning of the warm tones. All those are my luminance pencils. So I can wrap them up in their bands again. I can flatten it out, zip it up. It's not as protected for these high-end pencils, but I think it would work. Another thing I could add is a small sketch pad, and I like that it works twofold. It stores everything, as well as you can set things up and lay them all out in vertical, which is how I like to have my pencils before me. Like, here's a cup. These were all just in a cup. Oop. And here's another project that has some pencils that also need to get put away. They are also my Derwent drawing, a burnishing blender, and some polychromos. So I'm trying to get away from having so many cups on my desk and my drafting table. So before I go, that is the, oh no, I've got 2 more here. So then I had originally toyed with if I could find these at the right price point, which I never did. These are above the $1 to $3 that I was focusing on, and I wanted to share that these are like $11 to $12 on Amazon. This one was $7.57. It is a 72 4-zip, and it holds my Amazon basics that are for my coloring group to play with. I have my labels so that it's very easy for them to put them back, or me to put them back at the end of a coloring session. So I've adopted using these labels for every single set of pencils that I have in the individual elastic slot containers, so that it's easy for everyone, because now it's not just me using them. It is me and a bunch of other people. So this one's the 4-slot one. It was like $7.57. And then I found a 50. So here is the 3-zip. There are not very many of them on Temu. You have to really hunt. I didn't want to get 2 purple ones. I prefer to have them different colors. But for this was like $6.57, I think. You can find the 32 slot, which is a 2-zip, more readily, but it is still $6.57. So I snatched this just to be able to have, so people can see that if they do want a really small set of pencils, because a lot of people don't want to be overwhelmed with you know, a 72 set or 120 set, and I have put my for public consumption, to go with my Amazon Basics, my macarons second set. This is when I discovered the back in a previous episode, I talked about the colors, the numbers had changed, and the names between a little over a year ago and today. So I have, when I did my chart here to slip in, I put both color numbers, the current one and then in parentheses the old one that my old set numbering has. So I really like these. I think that it would be great. But most of my sets, aside from the Praying 50s and the Macaron 50, any other small sets that I have came with a case that I'm happy to just use that case. But I wanted to have a couple of these small ones on hand for people to see. And I think, though, over my budget, you know, for somebody who wants their own small set of pencils, or perhaps a set of a work in progress and they really want the zippered cases, you can get these as small as 32. And the 32 ones are really cute. They have owls on them. All right, so I'm going to pause to go grab what I think is the greatest way to have your pencils sitting on display while you're coloring, up vertically for you to grab easily. All right, so I don't know. I had made some videos initially for this channel that I never did publish, so I am not sure if you guys have ever seen this. This item Temu does have, but the best price is at the Dollar Tree. In the craft section, it is a piece together, so when you buy it, it's totally flat. It has a top and a bottom. The top has holes, the bottom does not have holes. And these 3 arms hold up. Oops. And I have the 1, 2, and 3 are written because I was using it in sections if I wanted to divvy up my pencils. And I have counted the slot holes from the Dollar Tree version to the Temu version, and they are identical. These are $1.25 now. I paid $1 for this, I don't know, 4 years ago. And I then went on Amazon and I found these. I have not looked. This is a Lazy Susan with the rolling balls, and it rolls really nice. And I think I got 2 of these. They are exactly the same round, a little bit larger than the size of the diameter, which you can measure the diameter if you get one. I then used, you can see a piece of tape. It's double-sided craft tape that's 2.5 inches wide, called Suk Wang. And it has held together, and I have used this for coloring in the trailer for at least the last 4 years. And I love it because I can collapse it completely. And I bought from the Dollar Tree, I bought 10 more for, again, for coloring people to use. and to see how they work. And I did not buy them the Lazy Susan, so they won't have the Lazy Susan part. But I've not looked on Temu to see if Temu has this Lazy Susan. I would imagine they might. And that is all I've got. So, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of these fun storage supplies, leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. If you want to see more about storage and supplies, I can share more. I have all sorts of different solutions for a variety of crafty things, and lots of storage for the various pencils that I have. I actually counted, and if you eliminate the cheap ones aside from the prangs, I have 26 sets of pencils now. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but I really do enjoy sitting in the recliner playing with all the different pencils. So he cannot say that it's a waste because, you know, aside from my more expensive pencils, the majority of my sets are the inexpensive pencils, and I just enjoy all of them. I find the merits in each, and depending on what I'm coloring, I can change up to a different brand, and this way I'll have pencils to last for a lifetime. So, that's all I've got. Do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.